Because if human beings have scientific knowledge, they are going to be free from, more and more free from religion, from clergy. Okay? This is what this represents. So Prometheus was punished. Science was under control. However, science was already out there. The fire was released. So even though you can chain science, you could halt the development of science, but eventually science will move forward, will escape. You cannot chain science forever. You could not chain Prometheus forever. Hercules represents, in a case, the workers wanting science and freed science, because science benefits workers. See, that's a radical left interpretation. Hope you found that interesting, boys and girls. Christianity, the end of the world involving fire. Yeah, if you read about the end of the world, they say there's going to be a massive fire and the world is going to end. As a matter of fact, other religions have that. You know what, boys and girls? This is a metaphor again. Here's a radical left interpretation. You could do a conservative interpretation. There's going to be a war, East against West, and the Antichrist and the Christ. They're going to be fighting, and there's going to be a fire, and that's going to be the end of the world. Okay. You could take it literally that way. That'd be a conservative interpretation. A liberal interpretation is, well, maybe that was just a warning. As long as, we all understand each other, we respect each other, maybe there won't be a war, a war where we destroy ourselves. Maybe that's just a warning. So for us to get along with each other. It's not that it's going to happen, that it may happen. So that would be a liberal interpretation. Because it will happen if we don't get along, the different groups. And then in a sense, you have an antichrist fighting Christ. Okay. And now the radical left interpretation is, and a lot of religions talk about fire and the end of the world, boys and girls. They're right. That's how the world is going to end. I'm going to give you the scientific interpretation. One day, boys and girls, our sun is going to blow up. All stars blow up when they reach a certain age. It may be a billion years from now, maybe a few billion years from now, but the sun will blow up. That will be the end of the world. That's it. There's your fire, the sun blowing up. They're correct, looking at it in a metaphor way. Remember what I said in our first episode? Freud said that religion is metaphorically correct. Here's an example of how they're metaphorically correct. Which leads us to a Twilight Zone, boys and girls. This is Rod Serling's TV show. And it's a wonderful show. He wrote 156 episodes. And basically the Twilight Zone, boys and girls, are dream sequences. And when you watch the show, you have to, interpret as if you're interpreting a dream. And Rod Serling said all his Twilight Zones had a social conscious message. It's dream sequences. Now, he never said what each Twilight Zone represented. That's up to us. So I'm giving you an interpretation of different Twilight Zones as we go through our different episodes. Not every week we're going to do this, but, not every episode, but a lot of episodes I'll be talking about a Twilight Zone. Today I'm going to talk about the midnight sun. Here you have, it looks like it's the end of the world. The earth is moving closer and closer to the sun. It's so hot. And you can see what the people are going through. Everything is melting, and you see this young woman painting, and she's just painting pictures of the sun. And you see as they're getting closer and closer, it's hot. You see all the paint melt from her paintings. And all of a sudden, the scene switches. It was a nightmare she had, and you could see snow all over the place. She had a fever. Okay, and that would explain maybe why she had to dream of the sun. However, as you watch this, they just explained that the earth is not moving closer to the sun. The earth is moving farther away from the sun, and that's why it's getting colder and colder. And people, instead of, where they're melting to death because of too much heat, they're freezing to death. And that's how the Twilight Zone ends. Now, what does this mean? What is the metaphor of all this? Well, here's the truth, tying in with religion. Yeah, when the end of the world comes, boys and girls, they were mostly correct that there's going to be a fire. Yeah, the sun is going to blow up. However, once the sun blows up, boys and girls, it's not going to be hot. It's going to be cold. Unfortunately, when that time comes, when it's the end of the world, we're going to probably freeze to death. There's going to be a ball of fire and it blows up, but there's no more sun, there's no more heat. We could probably freeze to death. That's how we're going to, the end of the world. Hate to put it that way, boys and girls, but this is something as a reality. By the way, Here's the good news. New stars pop up all the time with planets running around. Why I'm saying all this, when one star blows up, another star pops up. And that is why we have to be in cooperation with each other, boys and girls, with everybody in the world. We got to work together. We got to be one society, one world, no longer different nations. One big nation. And our ethnic group is human beings. That is it. And why I'm saying this, we got to work scientifically together. You know, maybe 1 billion years from now, our sun's going to blow up. We got to figure out a way to travel through space, to set up places where we're going to land, so we can find a new planet very similar to ours with a brand new star or sun, because they're constantly popping. Okay, that is going to be our work in the future. That is the importance of technology, to move to different planets and other solar systems, because once this sun or star blows up, that's it. So we have to plan this. Otherwise, this will be the end of human beings. Okay, unless we do this. This is our only salvation. Science and technology is our only salvation. And that's why I brought up these stories. Yes, we can change, we can be saved as human beings, but we got to work together. Everybody in the world thinks scientifically, and space travel is the future. Matter of fact, it's the present and the future. This is what we need to do, and set up space stations and constantly move to other planets. Because, so far science has shown us when one star blows up, other stars reappear. It seems like energy is recycled. Okay, and new planets appear and so on and so forth. And it seems like the universe is infinite. So this is our hope, and this is what, and maybe this is how we'll survive as human beings, constantly moving through space, looking for new stars and new planets for our survival, and setting up space stations along the way. Isn't that interesting, boys and girls? Okay, and in order to do this, we have to develop economic democracy. And before we can do this, we got to learn how to work together. Economic democracy is the collective ownership or control by the workers of the factories, mills, mines, railroads, land, and all other apparatuses of producing. It means producing to satisfy human needs, not as under the market economy for selling and profit. Economic democracy means true command and administration of the industries and social services by the workers through a democratic government based on their economic organization and not controlled and managed by a fraction of percentage of the population as in the market economy. And in a future episode, I'm going to go in more detail what this all means, boys and girls. So here are references for this particular program. Bye, boys and girls. See you next time.